In this video, we're going to take a look at how to make a box and whisker plot in Google Sheets, which will be called a candlestick chart. So first you have to have your data for your one variable stats. So if you don't have that, make sure you do that first and use all the formulas that go with it. Then we need to create some labels. So for a box and whiskers, you need to have a minimum, your lower quartile, your upper quartile, and your maximum values. And so we're going to go ahead and label each of the columns for that. Once you list those out, then remember you can resize the columns by clicking and dragging or just double clicking on each one. And then we want to, wherever our data is going to be, I want to label this as my data set. And then all I'm going to do is just copy my values that I've already found. So my minimum was 33.3. My lower quartile, which was 35.2. My upper quartile was 38.2. And my maximum was 41.9. Once you have that set up, then we're going to select the data set and those four values. You have to select data set, otherwise you're going to get an error because the first box it's looking for is a text box and then four numeric values. Then you're going to go to Insert, Chart, and it'll open up to a default chart. Either a lot of times it'll open up to a column chart. So yours might look like this. So in order to get it to be a box and whisker or a candle chart, you're going to click on Setup, Chart Type, and scroll all the way to the bottom. And it's the candlestick chart. So if you click on that, now it's like really small depending on what your data looks like. So if I want to zoom in on that and change some of the settings, you can then click on Customize. And we can click on vertical axis because that's the one that we want to kind of zoom in on. And my values, I can change my minimum and maximum values. So based on the information that I have here, my minimum value was 33.3. So round, like you want it to be below that, like a round number. So I'm just going to make it 30. And then my maximum is 41.9. So I'm just going to round up to 45. So now our graph is really small, so the last thing we want to do is click on this box, Allow Bounds to Hide Data, and it'll spread it out and look really nice. We can also click on Grid and Ticks, and we could add some minor grid lines, which will add some smaller lines in between. You can change the grid line color, you can change the background color settings under Chart Style. The other big thing is you want to make sure that you have a title. Now my title is just labeling the different things that I had, like my minimum, low quartile, upper quartile. But what this whole graph is actually about is 3-point field goal percent in the NBA. So I'm going to go to Chart and Axis Titles and change this chart title to match. And it'll automatically update it. And then I also want to change this axis to match that it's representing percentages. So I can change my vertical axis and label that as 3-point field goal percentage. And just a brief explanation of what a box and whisker plot is. So in this case, this represents my minimum value at the very far point. Wherever the box starts, that's my lower quartile value. So if I look at those values, they match. So this should be 35.2, and that's pretty close. My upper quartile is here, so it's below 40. So it should be 38.2, so that looks about right. And then this would be my maximum value, which is 41.9. So your box and whisker is broken up that this is 25% of your data, this whisker. The box is 50% of your data, and this whisker represents the other 25% of your data. Then you can move and drag this to a good place so you can save it and then copy and paste it into your presentation.